I'm back to once again wear something that you don't understand while explaining something that sounds ridiculous at first, but as I go on starts to make a lot more sense. Before you ask, yes, it hurts to lean backwards. But anyways, forget about all that. Parents, bro, let's talk about them. Never date someone who loves their parents and their family too much, okay? I'd go on a limb to say if they're family oriented, complete red flag. Look, now I'm speaking to you as a man, a human being, and a manipulator, okay? You don't want these family oriented people who are gonna at any point in the relationship put their family over you. Now, obviously some situations are different, you know, like some people, you know, when they're going to college, they're staying with their parents to not have to pay like dorm fees or whatever. Like obviously there are certain situations where you're gonna have to abide by certain rules. But what I'm talking about is people who are beyond grown, okay, out the house, you know, they're making a living for themselves, they're living their own life, and they still want to be part of that little like family stuff. Like gross. No. When I tell you, I was dating a girl, right? Basically, she lived on her own for a bit, right? Obviously, she grew up in her family household, ended up moving out. Okay, living her own life, it was great. But then she came upon hard times, okay? She had some relationship drama. I think some dude like stole money from her. Man, lucky guy. So then she had to move back with her family, okay? She was living with her brothers, her siblings, okay? Which I feel like is a bit different than living with the parents. However, as soon as I met her, it was a very big thing that she was like, I want to move out. I want to get my own place, you know, so I'm working hard so I can do that. You know, I can afford to do that. I'm like, okay, great. That makes sense. Okay, you may be living with your siblings right now, but you got goals. Okay, and you got big, lofty goals, completely fine. But then some things hit the fan. Okay, now I wasn't going to tell you who this was, but it was absolutely the girl who called me her dad's name. Now I reference that story a lot because so much happened. Okay, so she called me her dad's name, you know, and when things were getting romantic, but things really went downhill. Things really went downhill when her stepfather passed away. This changed everything in her mind. Okay, she went from wanting to get her own place to now, I want us to all get one big house. I don't know why I'm doing this. I want us to all get one big house, and then like the entire family, the entire immediate family live there. Do you know how insane that is? It would be her, brother, sister, mom, sister's kid, sister's husband probably. Like what are we on? Like what kind of shit is that? Okay, now mind you, this woman closer to 30 than to 20. Okay, so you understand. So it's like what? Why is this the plan? Why is that the move? Now here's the thing: if the reasoning was somehow like, oh man, you know, we're all kind of like tight on cash, it would be easier if we all lived in the same place. I'd be like, hey man, life's tough. We're approaching a recession. Of course, do what you got to do. Okay, like if you're in a situation where you need to do that, of course it's not a problem. But you're gonna sit here and you're gonna look me in my handsome face and you're gonna tell me that you want a house with your family just so y'all can spend more time together because you love each other and you guys are bonding over the passing of your stepfather. I don't buy that. Get out of here with that. You're telling me that I'm supposed to be dating a 30-year-old woman who lives with her entire family that she grew up with. That's just too much. That's far too much, especially at that age. Mind you, this young lady was pretty freaky. So it's like if I pull up, bro, and we want to bang, like I want to bone real quick, I'm gonna have to do it with your mom in the house, with your brothers in the house, with your sister and her child in the house. Because here's the thing, I'm gonna tell you this right now. There's no way the house was gonna be that big. No way it's gonna be that sizable. Like you're telling me that you are going to find I think it would be 7 bedrooms. Her mom, her brother, sister's kid. Like what kind of life are you living? And look, again, that's not me shaming the lifestyle whatsoever, but it's me shaming the fact that she was very much in a position where she's like, okay, I want to be independent, you know, I want to do my own stuff. And now all of a sudden we're backtracking. Now all of a sudden we're like, oh no, actually I want to live with my entire family. Mind you, her family put hands on her on multiple occasions, multiple times. And look, that's not funny. Okay, there's nothing funny about, you know, someone putting hands on you. However, you're going to look me in the eyes and say, I used to want to live by myself, but now, you know, since the passing of this person, I want to live with my family who put fists on me. Like, it's just ridiculous. I'll never get over that. I'll never get over that fact. Okay. So in that situation, how do you think I feel? I feel when I'm in the shoes of someone where she's picking people over me that, yes, she's no longer, yes, that there are blood ties, but but they put hands on her. It's like they've known you for longer, but they've treated you worse for longer. That's my main thing about parents. It's like, how are you going to love your parents or anybody in your family if they're not even good? When I tell you, this has happened to so many women that I've talked to. They grow up getting beaten by their parents. And then at some crucial juncture, they're like, but those are my parents though, and I love them. No. No. Also, something I should say, I never witnessed any of these beatings, okay? This is just what they told me, and I believe them because, they like call me crying, be like, oh, no, so-and-so put their hands on me. But do you see my general point? It's like, the first main thing is, there's a point where these parents, these family members, don't deserve to be loved. They don't deserve for you to be tied in. And here's the thing. If someone, and it could be anyone, like obviously I gave that example, but if someone is willing to stick with somebody after getting that kind of poor treatment, even if there's just like emotional abuse, like, oh, so-and-so, like they talk to me like this, they make me feel worthless. If they're willing to stick with their family, like despite all that, what do you think that tells you about like their relationship with their family compared to their relationship with you? Now, mind you, a psychopath might say something like, once you get in, then you could do those things and it'll be completely okay, which obviously that's not the point I'm making. Like that'd be horrible if you did that. But the point I'm making is, if they are this like trauma bonded, this locked in with their family, they're going to choose their family most of the time. And I will say, that is how a lot of families are set up. Oftentimes, in the Black community, oftentimes from people who come from particular countries, very family oriented, very tight, and very much like, oh, like, yeah, like we may bow, 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 bow. We may piece you up from time to time, but hey, trust, we're all we got. You got to lock in with us. You know what I mean? So it's like, even sometimes through no fault of their own, they're just coached up to be that way. Like, y'all know I be dating a lot of foreigners. You know what I mean? Like, they don't, at the very least, second generation, So a lot of their families try to, have them like stick with them and have, their say and be like, oh, what we say goes, which is horrible, right? That's why you need to find someone who absolutely, I mean, because obviously you're not all dating foreigners, but you know what I mean? Like, you need to have someone who is willing to pick you over their family by at least the second or third month of you dating. Now, mind you, okay, when I say pick you over the family, I don't mean immediately just spurn the family over any situation. I mean, if there's a situation where they have to choose between having you and having their family, they need to choose you. Like, objectively, because you do not want to go around being second place to someone's family. I don't even get it. It's like, you can't even sleep with these people. Like, how could you possibly care so much about them? I mean, a lot of people do get touched, which obviously, of course, is not funny, but it's like, if you get touched, like that might contribute to you loving your family so much, because you have those complicated romantic feelings for them. And hopefully, with some therapy, and talking about that subject, you can get better and move past that. But again, do you want to be in a situation where oh my gosh, but this hurts so bad, bro. I might have to change. Like, I feel like this is like the kind of fit, like that's like for drip purposes, which I completely get, but like just lounging around, bro, the spikes, they hurt. But yeah, I want to wear this because it just came in today. My girl got it for me. She's known I've wanted this for like a really long time. So yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, I had to change. Okay. Very, very stressful garment to wear, even though I like it. But anyways, do you want to ever be in a point where, say you get into it with one of their family members, and then like in their mind, or even just out loud, they're like, well, that is my family. Like, imagine you're in a situation, right? You're arguing with your partner's sister and you call her the B word. And your partner gets like extremely mad at you and you have to apologize to your partner. Nah. Now, mind you, if you're just tweaking out, you're tweaking out, right? But say, the sister says something that's disrespectful to you and you're like, hey, B word. And they side with their sister over you, it's a deal breaker, right? Like, that you should never be in that situation, because in that situation, you're not truly supported. Like, imagine a time you're in the hospital, a family member's in the hospital, and they go see that family member. Unbelievable. Especially when it's parents. What I don't understand about parents is they're going to die soon anyways. You know what I mean? Like, me, I have however many years left, much more than, your parent who's like 50 years old. I'll tell you this right now, okay? It's disgusting. If I was in a situation where my girl was in one hospital, my sister was in another, and my mom was in another, I'm seeing my girl in the hospital. Because the thing is, also, the thing about family is you don't choose your family, okay? You choose your romantic partner. So it makes more sense to invest more in them. Like, when people are like, your family's always going to be there. Your family is nothing more than people you've known for a very long time. But it's not even you didn't really have a choice of whether or not you would know them. Like, you essentially just grew up with them for like 17 or 18 years. So it's like, in all actuality, my relationship with my sister does not hold the same value as even a much shorter romantic relationship, because you got to go out of your way to find it. You got to see someone be like, oh, that's a baddie. You know what I mean? Or they see you, they're like, oh, that's a baddie. One of you reaches out to each other first. One of you walks up to each other. And then this stranger becomes everything. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm getting at? It is a voluntary and created relationship. There's nothing forced about it. So I don't see how you take that and you devalue it down as something that's below, oh, these are just some people that I've known for a very long time. So they mean something to me because we kind of look a bit similar. And as far as things like, you know, breaking up with someone because like your family doesn't like them, I wish my family would. You know, the only time I listen to my mom is when I call her. I actually just called her between takes, and I was like, "Mom, what should I get? What should I order?" And then she told me what I should order. Like literally, if it's not food related or like just no, low-key, I don't ask my mom for anything. Like not even like money advice. Like, you know how many times I've been in situations where my mom wants me to leave somebody? You know why I do? Absolutely nothing. That's why the whole daddy's girl, mama's boy thing. Actually, I think it's mom's both times. Is it? Because I'm trying to think if daddy's girls would like break up with a man like for their dad. I don't know. But anyways, that whole narrative of like, oh, you know, my parent doesn't like you, so I don't think this can work, makes absolutely no sense to me. It's pathetic. It's pathetic because what's the point of you liking somebody if you're just gonna yield? That's the thing. That's the thing. You truly don't like somebody if you would yield if their parents didn't like you. That I know I said the wrong thing then, but also if your parents don't like them. Like, you're really gonna sit here, right, and look at this person in the face, tell them you love them, but then you find out your mom, sister, brother, father doesn't like them, and now I don't know. Like, my family's important to me. You know how wimpy that sounds, bro? I feel like it would even be better to say like, oh, my friends don't like you. Because friends are another chosen relationship. And most people I know are more themselves around their friends and romantic partners than they are around their family. So many people feel like they can't be themselves around their family. Personally, I'm not one of those people. I've always been able to like just yap and say whatever. My family like follows me on social media, so like they know the stuff I be saying. That's why it's always so funny when people are like, "Oh, like what would your mom think if she saw this? What would your female relatives think if they saw this?" They do. They do see it. Okay, so and mind you, never ask them what they think, ever, because I don't care. But anyways, it's like if you're someone who can't be yourself around your parents, okay, or you're dating someone who can't be themselves around their parents, or just family in general, why would they listen to them? Like, would you take advice from someone who doesn't know who you truly are? No, of course not. Like, if I have to pretend to be somebody I'm not around you, why would I take your advice? Because mind you, the advice that people give people is often tailored to who they are as a person. So it's like if your parents or other family members come to you and they're giving you advice based off who they think you are. All right, their perception of you. They're like, okay, you're this kind of person. So like this is why you should do this. Like this is absolutely what you should do. But it's like if they don't know you, then there's no point. Like in that situation, asking your best friend for advice means a million times more than asking anybody in your family. So if you're one of those people or you know one of those people who holds the weight of someone being a family member, their family, as actually meaning something, when you are a human being who knows them, or you have a human being who actually knows you and loves you, not based off the fact that you have some blood relation, but based off the fact that you're the person that you are, lost cause, like literally lost cause. I want to tell you truly, it's funny because I've always been like this. I've always had this thought in my head. I'm like, bro, I have to be more important than your family or it's never going to work. Ever since I was a kid, I always thought that. But then it's like I live life and it's been proven true time and time again. I remember I was talking to this one girl. She was like afraid of like lying to her parents for me. And I'm like, okay, for one, you could just not lie. And also like what's the fear? And she's like, I don't want them to be like disappointed in me. And I'm like, grow the F up, bro. Grow up. Like, bro, like not gonna lie, like sometimes when you're talking to somebody and their parents are always like somehow a part of the conversation, not like literally, but like somehow the conversations lead back to their parents. Oh, like sorry, like this has to happen because my parents, blah, 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 blah. It feels like you're in high school. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that before, like in your adult life. But again, like I said, I date a lot of like people who immigrated or their parents immigrated. So it's like, it feels like every day, at least 3 times, it's my parents did this. oh, I would do this, but my parents. Like it reminds me again when I'm in high school and like I'm trying to like talk on the phone late at night, but then my mom comes in, I have to pretend like I'm asleep, and I'm like, oh, sorry, my mom walked in. And again, it's not always their fault, okay? Like if you're in a situation where again you're staying with your parents and they're very like harsh with you, but it is what it is. That's not something I'm actively blaming you for, given that there's a reason you're still in the household, right? Like I mentioned earlier, like some people go to college and they stay home. But my thing is, if you're in that kind of situation, if you're in that kind of situation, right, as someone who's graduated college, should be looking for a job, finding a job somewhere, and you still have to, I'm not talking to anybody, but, that was me hanging up the phone, by the way. Oh, no, I'm not. What are you talking about? What? No, I don't date. No, no. It's a bit of a stressful thing. It looks bad. You know what I mean? I remember I was talking to this girl. She was talking about getting married, right? And she seemed very much like hopeless romantic, wants to get married like soon as possible type, which she kind of was. Okay, but let me explain what she said. She was basically saying that like she wanted to date for like it was like it was like 4 years, and then no, I think it must have been like six or something. It was okay. Anyways, high number of years, and then she wanted to be engaged for also a high number of years. I think it was like 2 or 3, and then finally get married, like at the, like the age of 30. Mind you, this is early 20s. Okay, like this is like when me and her were both same age. We were both like 21 or 22. So you can do the math on like how long she wants us to date and be engaged or whatever. And I'm like, so you want to get married at 30? Now, here's the thing. There are reasons to want to wait, and I completely get that. Like personally, this woman didn't really have a lot of money. So in my mind, I was like, yeah, I guess I would want to wait that long. I wouldn't want to be in a situation where like I got married like really early on to someone who didn't really have that much money, and then I end up getting, divorced later, and then I have to pay all this alimony because like she couldn't make any money by herself. Plus, it's like getting married is like, when I was younger, I didn't realize how big of a deal. I used to want to get married when I was like 20. Bro, like literally, I swear to God. Like I used to want to, oh my gosh, what was wrong with me? I used to want to get like married at 20, have kids at 21, 22, 23, like, you know what I mean? And then just be like a very like young parent, I guess. I don't know what I was thinking. But then it's like you get older and you realize things like marriage is like, not only is it a commitment, right? But you kind of have to grow to not only trust, but also just be on that level with somebody. Because truthfully, when you get married, man, maybe it should be a video on its own, but I don't care. I'm gonna say it here. When you get married, low key, everything gets worse. And I don't mean that in like an anti-marriage sense. I just mean like you're dating someone, you're in a fight, it's like, okay, whatever. Like if we're in a big fight, we might break up. If you're married, if you're in a big fight, oh, are we gonna get divorced? It has a whole new word, a whole new term. You have to get lawyers involved. You know what I mean? Like if someone's dating and like someone cheats, it's like, oh, like they cheated. Like, yeah, it's horrible, but like, oh, they cheated. But if someone's married and they cheat, oh, they had an affair. Like it's a whole new word. They committed adultery. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those crazy things where it's like everything is so magnified. And it's just like realizing that marriage in general, it's a social construct. It's completely unnecessary. Like you can find one person, want to be with them for the rest of your life and not want to marry them. And that would be not inherently worse or better than actively getting married to them, except it would be less dangerous financially and probably emotionally than getting married to that person. Because again, like the divorce procedure, like it takes a toll on people's mental health. That being said, I still want to get married. You know what I mean? Like I like the concept of it. I really want to have like a bougie wedding, but it's like I'm no longer rushing it the way I was in my younger years. But anyways, yeah. So she wanted to put it off till like 30, right? The girl I was talking to, she wanted to put off like being married till she was like 30, and like we would talk about it like kind of frequently. Like we would talk about it multiple times, and I was just like, I can't figure out why. Like it came out like maybe like the 5th or 7th time that it was brought up. I was like, yo, why do you want to wait so long? And then she was like, oh, because I would have to tell my parents. I was like, what? Like you're telling, like, look, it's one thing, again, you're early on in a relationship, whatever, of course. But you're telling me that you would be willing to be like years long into a relationship, be 25 years old, anywhere from 25 to 30, and you're keeping it a secret. And look, maybe it could have been just because I'm kind of a sketchy guy. Kind of like imagine bringing me home to your family, right? They're like, "Hey, nice to meet you, Bryce. What do you do for a living?" And I'm like, "I make videos." And they're like, "Oh, so are you like a videographer, like a cinematographer? Like what kind of videos do you make?" And I'm like, It's kind of just me talking. Oh, really? I mean, can you show me some of the videos? No, I cannot. I cannot show you any of the videos. When I tell you, meeting someone's parents or just their family in general is going to be the most uphill battle. Like, I remember one time, this girl was talking about like me like meeting her brothers, right? And mind you, this was in the heat of my like I'm constantly like telling stories, constantly doing manipulation tactics. Like I was like, for one, her brothers might have seen me already at that point. And also, I wonder how they would react. I wonder how they would react. Because I've told you guys before, like there are situations where there were like dudes who were like glazing me in my comment section, but then I started talking to their friend, and then they talked to their friend. They're like, "Yo, like, are you sure? Like, do you know how he is?" Like, completely trying to block me down there, trying to, bro. Like, I'm just trying to, like, I'm just trying to get my meat bounced on. Okay, that's all I wanted. But they're like, oh, do you really want to involve yourself? Okay, here's the thing. I don't just want my meat bounced on. Sometimes I want my heart bounced on as well. Like, come on. Like, when I say bouncing on it, yes, the meat thing's involved, right? My meat's involved. My LeBron James down there is involved. Vanessa is involved. That's her name. But sometimes I want them to bounce on my heart. You know what I mean? So I would be in situations where I'm talking to someone and genuinely I'm like, oh man, they could really get my heart bricked up. You know, dude, there's this one girl. Me and her were talking, and she was like, okay, but like, what if you just want to like bust a nut and then dip? And I'm like, bro, I don't think I'm in the business of that, but like, I kind of want to bust like an emotional nut. And she was like, what? I'm like, no, like my emotions, like my heart, like I want to bust like a nut there. And she's like, that doesn't make me feel any better. I'm like, how, bro? Like, it's like she's essentially telling me like, oh, I'm afraid that you're just going to use me for my body. And it's like, no, like I want to use you for my heart as well and my emotions. Like, what did she not get about that? She was so funny. The thing is, was I lying when I said she wasn't the one I really wanted to bust my emotional nuts, to be real. I was lying to her. But the thing is, she didn't know I was lying to her. So, like, why all the skepticism? She was very upset that, like, I didn't want to date her. Very, very upset. She was one of them. And I just didn't understand it. I'm like, bro, if you don't want to date, it's fine. But, like, she held that grudge against me, like, for, like, time. She was the one who passed me off to her friend. No. Her friend passed me off to her, and I had no idea. So I was still talking to the other friend, and then they end up coming to me like, oh, Bryce, you're being so slimy talking to both of us. And I'm like, bro, I thought y'all knew. I thought you passed me. I thought I was getting passed around. Like, come on. Like, I didn't know I was supposed to stop talking to her. But no, you know what the problem is? I probably was just getting passed around, right? I probably was. But then it just got to a point where she felt too like emotionally invested in me and felt like I should have felt the same way too. You know what I mean? Like what? We kiss out if we kiss, make out a few times. I kiss your forehead a couple times, and now all of a sudden you got to be like my paramour, my long-term love interest. All of a sudden I'm gonna stop being attracted to your friend. Please. And the thing is, I would never say anything like that. And if she would have looked me in my eyes and been like, Bryce, are you still attracted to so and so? I'd have been like, absolutely. Okay, I'm trying to link up with her like tomorrow. But yeah, no. Anyways, imagine if I met your sister. You know what I mean? No, imagine your sister brought me home, or your daughter brought me home, right? Assuming, I don't know if you guys have like kids. I mean, like your daughter, when she's of age, brings me home, right? I would have to do some selling, okay? But here's the thing: parents love me. I'm such a good parent guy. I know. It sounds like I'd be a horrible parent guy because all this like trash I'm talking about people who love their parents. But no, it's actually I'm beautiful when it comes to parents. Now I will tell you this: dads, I kind of avoid women with dads, you know, for that reason, because dads are kind of finicky, you know, ever since high school. Because mind you, look, I'm a big black man. At the end of the day, all this talking, all this like, ooh, I'm kind of feminine. I wear earrings. Ooh, like I'm saying words. Like, ooh, I talk with authority. Not, it doesn't matter. I'm black at the end of the day. Okay, I'm a black man who's large, and even when I'm talking to black women, that's still a factor. Still a factor, because it's like, imagine you see your daughter with some 6'6" black man, handsome. A lot of these fathers think things are going to go down to their daughter, okay? Not in the way of, I mean, sure, maybe if they're not black, they would think I'd like put hands, but like just in the sense of like, oh man, this dude, he's going to play my daughter. And here's the thing. If I'm not yet monogamous, that might be true. The playing the daughter part, okay? Definitely not the hands. But it's like, they don't understand that when I'm locked in, okay? And y'all don't understand, like, I can't communicate to men effectively. Like I simply can't. I'm the worst at communicating to men like directly. That's why it's so like anybody who knows me in real life, bro, they would tell you how ironic it is that people see me as like a voice of men. Because when I tell you I cannot talk to men in real life. Bro, they do not rock with me, bro. They're not drinking my Kool-Aid. You know, even when I was supposed to sleep with that sleep with that man's wife, right? When I was supposed to sleep with his wife and I was like talking to him a bit, even that was difficult. But when I was talking to her, everything clicked. Everything was amazing. But things got awkward when he would get involved because I didn't know how to talk to him. Especially like middle-aged men, I feel like I very much have a problem with. You know, because, bro, they always think I'm trying to fight them. Since the precipice of my existence, bro. When I was in high school, like anytime I had a coach, like they would always kind of like be taken aback, like when I was just like talking to them, because they would think that I wanted to fight them. Same thing happened in college. Literally, when I was in the hospital, a therapist came in, and he was like, "Do you tend to have like problems with male authority figures?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, you know, I guess guess I do have problems with that." He's like, "You got a problem with me?" I was like, "No, bro. Mind you, I'm in the hospital, bro. Like, I'm not gonna press this guy. I could think someone's like a perfectly fine man, but then." But then they're like, bro, this dude hates me. So it's like meeting fathers, I can struggle in that aspect. But mothers, on the other hand, love me. Okay. I think they can just like look in my eyes and like sense my sweetness, bro. They always want to give me like hugs and stuff. And also, I think part of it could be like their daughters like tell them about my lore, like my traumatic backstory. So then they're like, oh, like he just needs to be loved. And it's like, yeah, see, bro. And that's what I love about having trauma, bro. You can use it to your advantage every time. Like, I'm going to unpack like my lore as tightly as I can right now. Okay. And you try not to fall in love with me. My father abandoned me. My grandma passed away when I was a child. My aunt and uncle passed away when I was a teenager, right? Actually, I think I might not have been a teenager yet when my aunt passed. Then I played football and then got anorexia, bulimia, other eating disorders. And then eventually I couldn't play football due to those eating disorders. Okay. I almost got kicked out of the school. I was harassed constantly while I was playing football. They were treating me horribly. I thought I paused because I want to think of more. In school, I got bullied relentlessly, okay? In elementary school, it was because I was bigger than everybody and my handwriting was really bad due to dysgraphia. Bro, like, dysgraphia, it's a condition, okay? Look it up, okay? Basically, my handwriting's bad because of that condition, not just because I have sloppy handwriting. Something that you can get help with when you're, like, really young, but then you grow past the point of being able to be helped. And I think I'm past the point, obviously. I'm a grown man now. But anyways, since I was bigger than everybody and my handwriting was bad, everyone thought I was mentally challenged. So I was getting bullied based off that. Even though, bro, when I tell you, I was smarter than all of those kids, bro. Like, I literally, everything except English, because again, handwriting, I was like a straight A student. So I guess not straight A's, kind of like curvy A's. Anyways, so that was my thing in elementary school. Also, I was a little bit ugly. I was like kind of like cute, like I was like, oh, this a little kid, but I was kind of ugly, bro. Wasn't really getting hoes like that. Except, again, I had like a bunch of like will they, won't they like things. Middle school, everyone's like, he's gay, let's bully him. I was like, ah. Even the gay kids, bro, let me tell you something about that. You know that stereotype where it's like your bully comes back and he's like tries to sleep with you? Like, do you guys know about that one? Basically, there's this kid in middle school, right? He was very obviously gay. But mind you, he never got the allegations. At least I never witnessed him get the allegations. But when I tell you, that dude, he was on my ass every day. No, he was on me every day, bro. Like, just like roasted me. I'm like, bro, that sucks. Mind you, I just wanted to be friends with bro. But then almost coughed. And then anyways, years later, come to find out, he's at the very least into men. I don't know what, complete orientation. Bro hit me up. Bro hit me up trying to talk to me romantically. That's just crazy. And you know what he said to me? He said, you weren't ugly in middle school. You just didn't know how to dress. And I'm like, bro, like we're not gonna have this revisionist history. You know what I mean? But anyways, and then high school. Let me think. What happened to me in high school? Oh yeah, no, more middle school stuff. In middle school, they used to make me pay to sit at the lunch table. Like all the cool kids, bro. They make me pay to go into lunch. Sometimes I had to eat my lunch in the bathroom because I was getting, bullied so hard. And now that I'm thinking about it, high school wasn't that bad compared to middle school and elementary. But like, people just didn't like me, bro. Like people always had issues with me. Like I remember one time, bro, there was this group chat and it was insane. Like there was this group chat and a white person in there said the N-word. And I was like, hey, that's not cool. Let's not say the N-word. When I tell you everyone in the group chat, mind you, the group chat is majority black. They're getting on my head. They start roasting me. They're like, oh, what? You have a problem when people say the N-word? Like, what's wrong with you? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? And at that point in my life, I don't think I did say the N-word. Oh my gosh. No, I remember. Another thing that happened to me in middle school. Bro, when I tell you, the bullies, the same ones who used to make me pay for lunch, they kept punching me, right? Trying to force me to say the N-word. That was before I ever cursed. Like, I used to never, ever curse, right? Like, when I was around that age. But, you know, a lot of kids, they do curse in that age. And then, like, 7th grade, punch me. Say it. Say the N-word. Say it. Say it. Say it. And eventually I said it. And they were like, and then they left me alone after that, walked away. Not left me alone for good, but, like, left me alone. You know, oh my gosh, I keep thinking I paused. But you know what's funny? The same dude who, like, used to say the N-word. Like, that dude, bro, later on, he told me something that, like, he told me he was looking out for me the entire time. I remember he told me, he was like, Bryce, if you ever get into the shit that we're into, I will beat your ass. I'm like, what do you mean? And basically, this dude, he's more of a, I don't want to, because again, I'm describing him being nice to me. I don't want to call him like a thug, but you know, he's more of a hood guy, so to speak. But he knew, like, essentially I was a good kid, so he didn't want me doing any of that stuff. But I'm like, bro, I feel like there are other ways than to, like, relentlessly bully me. But yeah, anyways, a bunch of people hated me in high school, but then my mental health was still getting, like, bad. Like, that's when my depression really started to depress. It's funny. It's like when the bullying, like, got way less, I was like, oh man, now I'm really depressed. And then of course, like I said, when I got to college, you know, everyone on the football team harassing me, nobody to really talk to about it. No real friends. There's a bunch of roster members. If I had friends, they were sparingly, and then they just, like, disappear after a while. Like, you hear this lore, like you hear my little lore drop, bro. Tell that to your mother. No, genuinely, I love that I can tell you guys to do things, and some of you do it. Tell your mother what I just told you about me. It gives me instant redeemable qualities. Because look, I'll tell you this right now. Gen Z might not have empathy, but what are moms? What are moms? Are they boomers? But boomer women, they're the ones with the empathy. So it's like, I can be the biggest red flag of a human being, but if their mom knows my lore and they bring me home, that mom is gonna love me instantly. Because especially when you meet me, I'm a sweet guy. Hi, nice to meet you. Like, you can, like, you know, the meme of the dude in the shiesty, bro? And it's like, oh, he's got kind eyes. I have kind eyes. Look at him. Don't I just look like a lovely guy? So yeah, I do great with moms. But there would be no way of you knowing I do great with moms except for knowing what I just told you. You know, except me telling you I do great with moms. However, it's like, you'd still be like, okay, you could just be saying that. Like, I feel like my mom would still be skeptical, bro. Which again, I completely understand. You know, I'm kind of I'm a sketchy guy. I'm a dangerous guy. Ooh, scary, you know? But anyways, she didn't want to tell her parents about me until we were 30. And I'm like, bro, like, here's the thing. I genuinely don't care. Like, in that kind of situation, I don't care if your parents know about me unless it becomes a problem. You know what I mean? Unless it becomes a situation where I'm getting chosen over you. I mean, your family's getting chosen over me. I remember she said something crazy to me. She was like, oh, like, you know, when we live together, she's like, and my parents come to visit, like, you would have to, like, get your stuff out of the house. And I was like, what? Yeah, she was like, you'd have to get your stuff out of the house and then, like, stay somewhere else. And I'm like, okay. You know what's funny? At the time, I was just like, whatever. Because, I mean, deep down, I knew, like, we were never going to get to that point. But in hindsight, I'm like, that's, like, a crazy thing to say to somebody. Like, you have to understand in that situation. That's what I want you guys to understand. If someone's making your life harder, simply because especially in that situation, it's like, now you're an adult, you're living on your own. I mean, you'd be living with me, but, like, you're on your own. Like, and your parents come and, you know, you're living with, you know, some guy who, like, who's supposed to be like yours, you know, like, y'all supposed to be like this, like, you believe in him and shit like that. But, like, you still feel the need to hide it, bro. Like, what, are they gonna disown you? Actually, they might. See, that's a problem. But yeah, first of all, if they would disown you, I still should be chosen over them. Like, that's the point. But some people do have family members that disown them for stuff like that, which is horrible. I definitely don't condone that. But, like, it gets to a point where you got to be willing to, like, let that shit go. Like, I know for a fact, bro, me wearing my earrings, bro, me in my gay outfits, that my dad sometimes, he did abandon me, but then he kind of came back. I know that sometimes he wants to disown me. Like, I'm for sure. But I'm not going to stop being me. You know what I mean? Because now I'm making my life worse. So if you're someone who's really close to your parents and you're, like, of the belief where it's like, oh man, if my parents don't approve, simply can't happen. You need to understand that you're making your life worse for these people who are going to die soon anyways. And just in general, you're making your life worse. That's not what you want. You want to make your life better. And it's like, your parents, yes, they're older. Yes, sometimes they're wiser. but they don't always know what's best for you. You know, the way that you know what's best for you. Especially in a situation like me. Again, say you're dating me. Sweet guy, charming, bright future in front of him. You know what I mean? Like, you're telling me, but they don't like me because, I don't know, I'm black. I say weird things on the internet. Like, come on. Like, we can't do that. And the things I know, you know, I'm kind of playing it for laughs right now, but sometimes the things are that frivolous. Like, dude, my friend, bro. By the way, this dude, solid friend to this day. Okay, we don't really talk, but that's the homie. His mom. Okay, so basically, he used to date this Asian woman, right? Vietnamese. And he's a black man. And his mom found out that he was dating a Vietnamese woman who was not a black woman. And she cried to him. She cried real tears to this man. So he had to break up with her. And it's like, look, again, that's the homie. I respect his decision as my friend. But I'm like, bro, I wouldn't be able to do it. Like, if I'm genuinely happy in that relationship, bro, my mom could be like, hey, Bryce, if you don't break up with her, I'm going to jump. And I'd be like, I'd just look away. I just wouldn't want to see it. Okay. I wouldn't even give her the satisfaction of lying to her and being like, hey, yeah, I'm going to break up with her, and then putting her in like some sort of facility. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause it's like, nah, you don't deserve that. And it's like, how could you be so insecure? You know what I mean? And look, no disrespect to bro's mom whatsoever, but I'm talking about moms who do stuff like that in general. Like, it's okay. It's okay that he's not with a black woman. You know what I mean? Like, it's just selfish. You know what I mean? Like, it's like your kid's in this position, right? They really like somebody. And mind you, we're young. Is it gonna last? Probably not, right? But it's like, your kid's happy. Let them be happy, bro. So it's like, I feel like your parents having problems with you being happy in it of itself is already another reason you shouldn't listen to them. I don't know. I feel like being that, not trusting, yes, trusting, that trusting and being, if you're reliant on your parents, big red flag. And it's a sign that you're not really a complete person yet. You know, because again, one day your parents are going to pass away. You're not going to be able to talk to them anymore, right? And it's a parent's job, essentially, like from birth, it's a parent's job to prepare you for when they die. So if you're in a situation where you're constantly yielding to what they say, then they failed, right? Because part of becoming an actual independent adult is being able to say no to your parents, is being able to not care what your parents say, not care what your family says in general. Like, literally, like, bro, look, I'm of the belief, yeah, you know, families should like love each other a little bit, I guess. Like, I love my family, right? But you should absolutely all be your own independent people, have different belief systems. I'll tell you, me and my sister, we get into arguments all the time. And I would argue with, look, not gonna lie, I low-key argued with my mom and convinced her to be on my side. Okay, so I kind of flipped the script. But if you're a part of a family or system that doesn't allow you to be your own person and to make your own decisions, and you're like okay with that, like, what are we talking about here? Like, I remember my old best friend was so homophobic, like the most homophobic man ever. And you know, they tried to cancel me one time because I mentioned having a homophobic best friend. I'll get to that in a second, but we always used to argue about it, right? And then like he would just eventually get to a point where he'd be like, "Oh man, you know, being homophobic, it was just how I was raised. It's like what my parents taught me." And I'm like, okay, like now you're 22. Now you're an adult who can make your own decisions and become more educated in those topics. And I'm gonna be real with y'all right now. Y'all know I love my mom. My mom doesn't think bisexual people exist. That's one thing I haven't been able to convince her. Like, you know those people who think bisexuality means like polyamory? Like, I'll tell you exactly what she says. She says you have to pick one. She's like, you can't just wake up one day and say that you want to be with women, and then the next day wake up and say you want to be with men. And I'm like, Mom, that's not how it works. And like it's not really clicking. I remember one time we had that argument in front. Now, when me and my mom argue, we're not like we're not yelling at each other as like some people would probably expect. Like, when we're arguing, like we're talking just like this, right? So then I'm like bisexual people, they don't like just choose on a day-to-day basis. It's just like they just happen to be attracted to both genders. And when I said stuff like that, she looked at like the company we had, like it was literally my friend. She was like, yeah, you know, we just love to argue in this house. And I'm like, no, like I'm being for real. She's one of those people, she's like, I could be with a woman if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I like men. And it's like, Mom, you're not understanding how it works. Because the thing is, she also feels like bisexual people try to take away from like gay people, because she's like, oh, like I know, like I've had friends who are lesbians and like they like hate men, like the concept of like sleeping with men like make them want to like throw up, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, those are lesbians though. You know what I mean? Like that's the point. They're different from bisexuals, but she doesn't really get it. Oh yeah, and mind you, I grew up going to church, bro. And man, I really did grow up going to church. Anyways, bro, the pastors would be saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, you know, gay people shouldn't get married," and I'd be like, in my head, I'd be like, "That doesn't make much sense." And then like it's just you hear these things from like your parents, your church, if you go to church, or just whatever leaders around. When you're a kid and you have to listen to people, you hear these from the people that you have to listen to at some point. But then you can just grow up and be like, nah, like not nah, I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid anymore. So for my friend to be like, oh yep, being homophobic is how I was raised, like that's an excuse, as if people who are raised homophobic don't sometimes end up gay and end up being allies to the gay community. It's just a bit ridiculous, you know what I mean? But oh yeah, people got mad at me for saying my friend was homophobic. And here's the thing, for one, I'm gonna tell you this right now. A lot of people have not experienced having very limited access to friends. Okay, for one, especially, I hate to be this guy, but as a man, and I'll tell you this right now, I was gonna say most men, but I'm just gonna speak for me. Most men that I've came across in life are openly homophobic. So it's kind of, I mean, most straight men, obviously. Like that's kind of just an aspect of life. Like, I want to tell you, if I cut off all of my homophobic friends at like any point in my life, I would have no friends, no male friends at least. Like I remember I was staying with my friend, right? And basically he let me bring some like girl over, and like we slept together on his couch, right? I smashed her on the couch. Okay, another career performance. I did a great job. Bro, I dismantled her. Like she may have experienced ego death, bro. I don't think she was the same after that. Like as a human being, but in a good way. You know what I mean? Like in an uplifting way. Like I feel like I increased her will to live. She did a great job too. Like, I'm not just glazing myself, but it was a great experience for both of us. You know what I mean? Anyways, slept with her on the couch, and the other day, not the other day, the other day from that day, like a few days later, I was with this different girl, right? And she was also there. Now, I didn't sleep with her on that couch, but like we were all just there hanging out, and then he had mentioned before that like he had let like women come in to like sleep with me or whatever, and then that sounds crazy, but then I forgot, like the girls, like she made a joke. She was like, "Oh, but like, what if he brought a guy up here?" And he was like, "Yeah, no, I'd have to kick him out." And I'm like, "Oh wow, like that's crazy." Like, he would kick me out of his place. So it's like those are the kind of things that you deal with, like just in general. Like there's a lot of like homophobia out there. So basically, there's that, right? There's the point of, if you want to have friends, you're going to have friends with some of these bad qualities. Now, mind you, if I knew these men were like committing some sort of hate crimes or like physically harm, like even the roommate I had who was homophobic, who was like my best friend for a very long time, he would say that, like he told me, he was like, bro, if it was illegal to like take the lives of them, like I definitely would. But like he would never do it, you know what I mean? Because it's illegal. But like he would never actually like harm somebody. He would just avoid them. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Like if the worst of the homophobia that I have to deal with when it comes to you is you like just like talking trash about them behind their back, it's whatever. But there's a lot of people, bro, a lot of people who are very quick to say, oh, you shouldn't have any friends who are racist, sexist, conservative, even like just being Republicans. And I will never believe in that ideology unless there's literally like something that happens. You know what I mean? Like if they actually like do something that's like completely messed up, I understand cutting off the friendship for that. But like the reason I think it's actually important to have friends like that is that roommate who was homophobic, I promise you, by the time by the time like we ended up like stop being roommates, he was far less homophobic than when I first met him. Because the statement he made about like, oh, like he would take their lives is when he first met them, right? I mean, not when he first met them. When me and him like first moved in together. By the end, he no longer felt that way. By the end, he was much more of a, I just don't rock with it kind of guy. It was all those days of me arguing with him and also me kind of like appearing very gay. He kind of had no choice but to become a pseudo ally, becoming friends with these people, right? And pushing back on their behavior, okay? Not letting it, because of course, like if you're in a situation where you let someone says like, say you're friends with a white person, they say the N-word, you let it slide, bro, come on. But like, or like, especially like if it's two white people who are friends together, right? And then like you let your white friend say the N-word, like, come on. But it's like if you befriend these people, right, and you push back on the things they say, and like oftentimes like they have to come to terms over time with the fact that what you're saying, which like, hey, you shouldn't hate this group of people for no reason. They'll realize I almost said white. They'll realize you're right, right? Like when it comes down to it, like people inherently know that hating other groups of people is wrong. It's just they don't care. Like as much as people say like, oh, like it's okay to hate this group for this reason, blah, 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 blah. Deep down, people know it's messed up. Just like that dude, he knew it was messed up that he was homophobic. And I'm sure, literally the friend who said that he would kick me out if I was sleeping with men, he knows it's wrong to be homophobic. So it's like when you actually like befriend these people and you have conversations with them, you're not constantly arguing. Like, yes, I say push back, but that doesn't always mean argue. It means just like talk about things, right? Talk about their mindset, talk about your mindset. If you have these conversations with people, that's how you actually get people to change. That's why, when people are like, oh, debating never works, people just get entrenched in their own opinion. Yes, because they feel negatively towards the person that they're debating against. Right? Like if I literally like hate your guts and I'm presenting myself like I hate your guts and you hate my guts, you're presenting yourself like you hate my guts, all we're going to do is hate each other more at the end of the day. But if someone can say the same thing that me and you, two people that hate each other, but then person number 3 comes in and they can say the same exact things that you're saying, but they approach me in a friendly way and we're more conversational and it's not just ridiculing, they'll most likely get through to me a lot more. It's just common sense. Like you can't abandon these people, right? Because things, we're all human beings. We're all living in the same earth. You know what I mean? Like we're all in it together at the end of the day, whether you like it or not. And are you going to be able to change everybody? No, absolutely not. And it's not your responsibility to change everybody. But what I'm saying is when you say to people, oh, you shouldn't have friends that are this, that are this, that are this, that are this, you're never going to make any change. All the protests you want to go to, all the rallies that you want to do, all those little posts you want to make on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, they're never going to do anything because you're not identifying these people and you're not identifying with these people. Like I would say, if you're serious about having change about certain things, whether that be misogyny, homophobia, racism, etc., conservatism, whatever you want to call it, if you insist on having those changes, it is imperative that you befriend those people who are those things and not avoid them, because avoiding them doesn't do anything. And it's so irritating. Like when I see people on there like, oh, like this person hangs around with this person who has these kinds of beliefs. What are they supposed to do? Not only are you boiling down someone's entire personality to one bad trait they have, which a lot of people would say that I'm being ridiculous right now. But when I tell you that homophobic friend was always looking out for me, and he was a great friend. So it's like you're asking people to end these great friendships over someone having certain beliefs that are messed up. Now I understand if they do something like when people are like, oh, you shouldn't be friends with someone who like assaulted women. You know what I mean? Of course, I absolutely understand that. That makes sense because that's actually doing something. But I mean, of having belief, like say, oh, you shouldn't be friends with a guy who uses the B word too much to describe women or calls women females. It's like, bro, who's going to get through to that guy? Nobody. If those people are just hanging around other people like them, it's just going to perpetuate the same thing they're doing. Like it's never going to stop. When I tell you, bro, these internet activists, these social media people, these virtue signalers, they are the dumbest people alive. They're even dumber than the side that they're complaining about. Like these people who are constantly like just looking for reasons to be upset with people. Like, oh, this person's not doing this. Oh, this creator didn't say this. Why isn't this person talking about this? These are the dumbest people alive. The dumbest people alive. They just have very strong beliefs and they're like, oh, like these kinds of things should happen. Nobody should be like this, but aren't thinking about how to make those things actually happen. So it's like, it's not only the people who are racist, misogynist, homophobic. It's not just them that's going to be the reason that these things never go away completely. It's also those people who are telling you that you can't be friends with those people, that you shouldn't communicate with those people, that are insisting on, oh, well, these people, they've always said like such bad things, like they've been ableist, blah, 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 saying all this stuff. Now we can do that too. Let's come at them with their own game. That's, oh my gosh, I gotta talk about this. Now, look, I don't know anything about the politics of this situation whatsoever, okay? But there was some sort of Democratic representative that called some sort of Republican representative, I think it was like Senator Hot Wheels or something. Now, is that hilarious? That is hilarious, right? Because basically, bro was in a wheelchair. They called him Hot Wheels. I understand that it's a funny joke, right? And then a bunch of people were quote tweeting and being like, "Oh yeah, like you have to like do low blows. Like that's what the Republicans do. Like they fight low, so you got to fight low too." And it's like, bro, that's never gonna work. It's like you're sitting here trying to out hate, and you're just not gonna do it. You're gonna try to out hate and then claim to be the moral high ground. That's what I don't understand. It's like, again, you're gonna make fun of somebody for being in a wheelchair, right? But then when election season comes around, it's like, hey, remember, we're the good people, we're the good guys, and it's like people are gonna remember, like, yo, I don't know, like that. They're kind of the same. They're kind of both like making fun of things they shouldn't make fun of. And am I saying that's smart that people are gonna do that? Am I saying that's a reasonable thing that they're gonna do? No, but you know how people are, or do you? Or people might not know how people are. I'm telling you right now, and I mean this not even just in political stuff. I mean in life. If you stoop down to someone's level, all that people are going to see is that you two are at the same level. They're not going to see that you stoop down. They're not going to see, oh, like, oh, this is why they did this. They did this because the history of this. No, all they're going to see is like, okay, now both these people are doing this. You know what I mean? Like if there's a situation where someone walks up to you like once a week and they push you, just the same guy walks up to you once a week and push you. One day you decide to push him back. You two start fighting. People who are there are going to see, oh, these two guys are fighting. That's all they're going to see. Now, obviously, in that situation, I'm not saying it's wrong for you to go and want to fight that person. I'm not saying it's ridiculous that people want to stoop down to the level. But when people say, oh, stooping down to the level is what's going to fix everything, it's not. It's only going to make it worse. Especially, and I'm so sorry for getting political, but when the entire appeal of your party has been, we have morals. That's our thing. We're so much morally better than this group. And you decide to ditch your morals in order to stoop down to their level, now why are people going to vote for you? Why? And don't say policy, because 90% of Americans don't vote for policy. They vote for who they... You see my point though. You get what I'm saying. But yeah, ignore me. I'm not a political guy. I don't know anything about politics. Just a goofy little internet guy. But anyways, my point is you have to get past your family. And something else you have to realize is that you don't owe anything to your family because they're your family. Like I've been saying, they're just people you've known for a very long time that kind of look like you, that share your DNA. So, and when people go through life acting like they owe their parents, owe their family something, those are people that you can kind of tell are just a bit stunted, a bit stunted in emotional growth. And those aren't the people you want. Imagine dating someone who allows their family to disrespect you and doesn't say anything because they're my family. Like that would be ridiculous to me, bro. God knows not to put me in that situation, man. I would lose my mind. And the thing is, even me as a person, I would never put my girl in that situation, bro. Like if for whatever reason, now here's the thing. I'll tell you this right. My mom doesn't argue. My mom does not argue. She will. My mom will tell me later if she didn't like something that happened, right? But if for whatever reason my mom and my girl are arguing, I'm leaving with my girl, regardless of who's right, who's wrong. I'm not just gonna hang back. I'm not just gonna be like, oh, what is this? You know what I mean? Like it's simply. And here's the thing. You know what my mom taught me actually, which very much factors into the theme of this video. She told me that your romantic partner should always be above the family. Above the family that you grew up with, because it's like this romantic partner, you're supposed to be starting a family with them, and then that family is going to be your biggest priority, like as like the caretaker of it when you're a father or mother. And that makes sense, okay? Because think about a situation. What are you going to do when you actually have a family with your partner, right? You have kids. You have kids, and then somehow you love your kids. Somehow your wife or husband is in last place, because not only is your wife or husband second to the kids. A lot of people, they end up being second to the kids, but she or he is also second to your mom, dad, sister, brother. Like, how does that look for the person that you pick, the person you're supposed to love eternally, the one that you pledge your eternal allegiance to, right? Like if they're your wife or husband, if you get married to them, like that's honestly, it's a horrific way to treat somebody, to be honest. Like I feel like the caring hierarchy should absolutely go by age. You know what I mean? It's stuff with siblings. Like if you have a younger sibling, I still feel like you should love your partner more. But you should love I'm not going to say love. You should love and care about your parents the least, right? Then siblings second least. And then your partner the second most, and then your kid the most. And if you want to alternate kid and parent, then hey, I mean, kid and parent of the kid. So like parent and your husband or wife. Like, why do I keep messing this up? Your kid or your husband and wife. You know what I mean? But in general, that family that you grew up with is old news. They're in the past. Okay, it's not the same thing anymore. Like y'all just be getting nostalgic. You just remember when you were a kid and you're like, hey, let's go outside and eat popsicles. And you went outside and you ate popsicles with your family. You had a great time. Those days are over. Okay, you're a grown man or woman. You're not a kid anymore. You should not love them nearly as much, especially if they beat you. I will never get over that. I will never get over somebody picking their family over their partner when that family beats their ass. It just doesn't make sense. It just grinds my gears. It doesn't sit right with me. Like a lot of people have to learn how to let that stuff go. Let it go that, oh, this person raised you. You understand? We've been conditioned by society. People have been like, oh, yeah, you got to respect your elders. No, some of them were very shitty. So, and it's my thing. My thing is like, most people I know who have like super allegiance to their parents have shitty parents. The people who care about their family the most and would do anything for their family have bad families who treat them poorly. And if that's you, how much sense does that make? And actually, and you know, there's a parallel there. I mean, there's a connection there. I feel like bad families train you to put up with the badness. They're like, oh yeah, oh, but I'm your family though. Like you gotta do this. You don't actually. Okay. When good parents, on the other hand, good families are like, hey, you know, we're just family. You know, we love you and we hope you love us too. But like, hey, you know, don't worry about it. And that's how it should be. But instead, we got people glazing their families. Like, now, people be raising their kids like, hey, you better glaze me every day. If you don't glaze me, I swear to God, I'm gonna bring down the hammer on you. But you got to remember, you're not a kid anymore, okay? Especially, you're out the house. There's nothing they can do to you. Like, literally nothing. Like, what, are they going to come to your house and beat you up? No. And the thing is, if they did do that, that's even more reason that you should cut them off. Bro, there are people who literally dread the holidays because they have to see their family and they have to deal with whatever nonsense their family's going to put out. You don't have to. That's why I always want to tell those people. It's like, what do you mean like you have to put up with your family because it's the holidays? You don't. You cannot show up. Like, what happens if your family wants to see you and you say no and you don't see them? Do you go to jail? Do you get robbed? No. So you have to understand that it's okay. And when there are situations where it's like, hey, you know, I think I want to be with my partner instead of going to this family thing, it should be a valid thing to do. Because again, you chose that partner, you didn't choose your family. And oftentimes, again, that family treated you horribly anyway. And it's funny that I'm saying this because when I tell you, my family has, other than my dad abandoning me, has treated me greatly throughout my entire life. Except, you know, as a little kid, I'd get into fights with my sisters. But when I tell you, like, my sisters, they would take their lives for me. If it came down to it, my mom would take her life for me. Yeah, like if I was like, hey, yo, I need something, they would absolutely, you know, fulfill. They'd fulfill for sure. So I feel like that's why, like I'm 100% sure my mother's better than yours. I'm sorry. So if I can say this, being in the situation I'm in, I don't even have a bad family. I feel like people probably can see the headlines of this video and be like, oh, he must have a horrible, horrible family life. No, if I can say this as someone who has a good family, that's how you know it's true. That's how you know it's true. Because the degree of difficulty in what I'm talking about is at its highest, right? Because if someone has a good family and they're like, no, you need your family. You need to be around your family all the time. Okay. You have a good family, allegedly, right? You may have been groomed into thinking that your family's good, right? And people with bad families, nah, bro, that's still the family. Like, no. Okay. I'm the most impartial. Like, if I can love my family and think they're great and not want to be around them, that's proof that you don't need to love your family for real, right? Like, I'm not some guy who's like super like hurt because like his mom like hates him or something and is like, oh, you shouldn't love your parents. Like, no, that could not be further from my experience. Like, people consistently be thinking I have a bad relationship with my mom just because, like, I don't know, they're like, oh, what? You do some, like, when you were in situationships, you kind of led people on. Oh, your mom must like hate you or something. Like, no, like, if you see my mom and me have a conversation, bro, it's It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Okay, we just be talking, we be yapping. And she also respects my independence. Okay, like there's so much I do that my mom doesn't approve of, right? Like she'll see videos and she'll be like, ugh. Like she'll look at my videos and be like, ugh, can't believe you said that. Gross. You know, especially when I'm talking about like sleeping with people. She's like, Bryce, you're disgusting. And I'm like, okay. But it's fine, bro. Because she understands I'm a grown man and I'm gonna do what I do. And she also understands the aspect of me being a grown man and doing what I'm doing is how I got here in the first place. And here's a little story for you, a little lore. When I was really just getting back from the hospital from my anorexia, right? And they were trying to kick me off the football team and out of the school. I was like, okay, I'm going to prepare, a tweet that's going to basically detail everything that's happened to me in my time here and just see what people say. See if it can do something, somehow save me from getting kicked out of school. My mom didn't want me to do that. She was like, no, it's just going to cause more problems, blah, 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 blah. But I was like, fuck what she says, bro. My back's against the wall. I'm going to do it. I put up the tweet. Next thing I know, I'm able to stay in school because the right people saw it. And then again, now the school's back is against the wall. They can't they can't deny, because literally, like, it was a long tweet. Like, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but basically it's like, I was in the school. I went to the hospital because I almost died. And then they wanted to kick me out of the school. Like, they wanted to kick me out of school after being in the hospital. No one's going for that. Like, the average person's gonna be like, oh yeah, that's like really messed up. So then they were forced to kind of, appease me, and you love to see it. But imagine I listened to my mom when she said, don't do that. I would have been kicked out of school completely. I would have been, I don't know where I would have been, bro. And that was before TikTok too. So I had like no source of income. Like, what, I could have been living with my mom. But do you understand my point? Okay, like, that's my sentiment. And like, the moral of the story is, be your own person. Be your own human being, okay? I know you guys like those morals of the stories. I'm trying to bring it back. But I feel like this whole thing, there was a lot of morals of the story. But like, be independent. Understand your independence. Understand that these people, regardless of how long they've been in your life, who they are to you, they don't matter. You are what matters. Make the decision for you, never them, especially family, because sometimes you don't even like them anyway. Sometimes they don't even like you anyway. Be your own person and live intentionally, and that's how things start working out for you. If all you do, I'm not gonna say, because that's not all anybody does, but if every time someone tells you to do something, someone in particular, whether it be mom, dad, sister, brother, partner even, if you always do what they say, if you always take their words into account to the extreme, you will do nothing but hold yourself back in life. Some of the best decisions you will make will be decisions that nobody wants you to make. I think that was a beautiful mic drop. I'm gonna end it there. But anyways, yeah, so that's the video. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me think. State of affairs, what's going on? I'm glad to get another hour-long YouTube video out of the way. You know what I mean? Like 2 days in a row. I feel really good about it. Daily postings. Yesterday's video did very good. Thank you guys for lighting it up. And hey, we'll see how this one does. But anyways, I don't really have much more to say, because I said a lot in state of affairs yesterday. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, everything I have to say. I'm so sorry, and I love you. Have a great day, night, evening, morning.